Kyle, today I want to talk about something that I think a lot of real estate agents find themselves in. They, especially good ones, right? They come into the industry and they do well because they're a great real estate agent. And when you're a great real estate agent, people flock to you. They want to see how you're doing it. Oh, you did 10 deals in your first year. In San Diego, that's a big deal. Maybe other areas not, right? Oh, you made $150,000 your first 6 months. Oh my God, I want to do what you're doing. And so people will kind of flock to them. And as with most things, you know, if your restaurant does good, you do another restaurant or you franchise it out. And we see a lot of growth. People think it's a linear path of I'm a real estate agent, then I build a team, and then I build either a brokerage or a mega team. And then pretty shortly after that, it's funny, we were just talking about this in my past role, pretty shortly after, as they move up in quotes, they realize, well, I'm a great real estate agent, but now I'm managing a bunch of people. Now I'm dealing with a lot of issues rather than sell real estate. And I would tell people this whenever people complained about you, to be honest. And I say, and you've grown a lot, but there were situations, and still you're not the perfect leader, but 6-7 years ago versus now is very different. And I say, look, Kyle got to where he is because he's a fantastic real estate agent. We didn't pick out of everyone in the world who's the best team leader, and now you've grown into a fantastic one. I'll give you props for that. Sorry, decrease the ego a little bit. But a lot of people grow there and then they go, now I'm dealing with all this BS that I don't want to deal with. I'm not selling real estate, I'm not making money, I'm dealing with stress, I'm firefighting all day long. For what? The end. That's all I got. That was like a 4-minute monologue.
That's funny because, you know, our video series that we've done with all the restaurants, how many restaurants did we go to where like the restaurant had just opened within the last 12 months? Like, we're going to franchise and we're going to go all over the place. And you're just like, oh, dude, I don't think you get it.
Maybe print your menu first.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But here's what's funny is we don't always do that in real estate. But like when we've gone to restaurants and the restaurant owner is like, I want to franchise, and immediately you cringe. You're like, no, you don't want to do that. This is a bad idea. It's funny how we don't do that when real estate agents say like, oh, I'm going to grow a team. Like a lot of them we should be cringing too. Like they shouldn't do it. So yeah, I think there's a lot of people that feel this pressure because they watch a podcast, a YouTube video, they go to a conference, right? They were on a webinar, they were on Instagram, and they saw somebody, and they're like, oh, that person has a big team, I want to run a big team, and so they do it. Same reason these restaurant owners, like, I want to be the next, Five Guys, or the next Subway, or Papa John's, whatever, like, and so people see this, and they want to go do it, but it's not always all they thought it was going to be.
Yeah, so on today I want to talk about some of the pros, because there are pros.
Absolutely.
And why that's attractive besides just ego. The ego, I think, is a big piece of the pie, but besides just ego, I want to talk about the pros. I want to talk about some of the cons, and some kind of options of ways maybe you can have some of these pros without building a mega team.
For sure. Cool. Yeah, we'll jump into all of that today. Welcome to the Whissel Way podcast. My name is Kyle Whissel, your host with eXp Realty in San Diego.
I'm Bryan Koci.
Goal of the show is give you the tools, techniques, and tactics. Go out there and crush it in your business. The way that we like to do that is to answer the questions that you have for us. So if you ever have a question you want to have it answered here on the show, you can always go to thewhisselway.com. Ask us questions on there. Subscribe to the podcast and YouTube channel. Join our private Facebook group and email newsletter for a lot of tips and tricks of what we're working on here on our team. That's going to do over 1,000 transactions this year. And lastly, if you want to level up your content creation game, you can do that. We'll teach you audio, video, social, the whole nine, all of that at thewhisselway.com. Well, let's jump into this because this is one that I've become probably more passionate about in the last few years than previously, because I think 2021, 2022, or I guess 2020 through half of 2022, it kind of disguised things for a lot of people. A lot of people were team leaders, and the market kind of disguised how shitty their teams were because the market covered for them. Now that we're in a tougher market, now, right, there's that thing when the tide goes out, we'll see who's been swimming naked. Like, there's some people who've been swimming naked.
And I think some people didn't know they were swimming naked.
They didn't. They had no clue, right? It's almost like, you're out in the ocean. We're in California. We grew up in the ocean. Like, you go out in the ocean and you're out playing around, swimming. Before you know it, you're like 500 yards down shore. You didn't even realize it. it's kind of like that, but all of a sudden the tide goes out and you're like, oh, I need to get over there. Like, holy cow, what happened? So I feel like, the market has covered this up for a lot of people. They didn't realize how screwed up their teams were or how miserable they were because they were making really good money and it was easy, but it's hard right now. I mean, second half of 22 on has been tough. 2025, with what's happening politically, economically, it's extremely tough right now. I mean, especially if you're in a market that thrived during COVID, because the pendulum's swinging the other direction. So if you're in Florida, if you're in Texas, you're in Idaho, some of these markets that did phenomenally well during COVID, it's tough. It's really, really tough right now. So it's starting to expose, how a lot of these teams are in really bad shape. And a lot of these team leaders maybe shouldn't be leading teams.
Yeah, and I also think that not only maybe their skills, their systems of those teams maybe weren't up to par, but again, you covered it for it. And now they're still not up to par, but now you have agents not making money. Now you have agents creating problems, messing up, and now it's all compounding. So where you go, yeah, I know my CRM is at 70%, and that, I'll fix it when I fix it. Now that, plus all the other things, makes it really, really hard, really, really stressful.
Yeah, and I think, the stimulus that we had in the market, people started to spend a ton of money, just willy-nilly spending, not really paying attention to it. So now they committed to all of these different things. And then the business was so easy to get. It's like you paid for all these things, but you didn't really fully utilize them because you were so busy. You never actually dialed these systems in. So you're paying all this money for all these systems that are not fully integrated into the business at their maximum capacity. And then you got agents who aren't making enough money, so they're mad at you. You got all these expenses and all these half-assed systems. It could be really tough to be a team leader right now if you don't have your shit together.
All right, so start a team. Good luck, have fun. No, but there are definite pros to having a team.
Yeah, I
mean, you have a team.
I almost worked 0 days in June. All right, I traveled, then I got sick. And then I had surgery, and I worked a total, I think I was in the office for 1 day, maybe 2 days in the entire month of June. So it's I know you're looking at my hair, Brian. I see the eyes going straight
I'm trying to think. If you're listening to the podcast, you got to check it on YouTube. Kyle, turn your head sideways so I can see.
Oh, see the sweet haircut? Yeah. Yeah, I did a hair transplant surgery, so.
If you want a great photo from our weekly meeting, hit up Kyle. I sent it to him, and then blasted our company with it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful new hairstyle. It's in.
So pros, you have
Sigma,
flexibility. Yeah. You're able to take vacation without your business suffering.
Yes,
You're
and still make money.
And still make money. You're
Yes.
able to, with a team, you have more leverage, right? And so you're able to either work deals with vendors or share the load if you're going to do a client event. And instead of saying, hey, I have to pay 10 grand myself, maybe you and your team all break it down so that way you work together for it.
Yeah, I mean, in a properly set up team with the right, go back to Marcus Lemonis back in the day, people, process, product. If you have all three of those dialed in, right? I don't work the weekends. I don't even work Fridays typically. For the most part, I'm not working on Fridays. If anything, I might take a Zoom or a coffee in the morning. Outside of that, I'm not working Friday. I do not work Saturdays or Sundays. That's fucking great. Mm-hmm. Right? Because when you're an active agent, that does not happen.
No,
right?
You work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, that's when you're working the most. Yeah. So the amount of freedom that is possible when you set this up properly is great. Also, if you build a company that does not require you, if you ever wanted to exit, I tried to exit my brokerage before we came to EXP, and I was like, oh, I'm going to sell it for all this money. And they were like, you're the number one producer. You lead every meeting. You're everything to this company. You're the name. You're the face. You lead every meeting. You're the biggest producer. This company's gone without you. So the value of your business is nothing. And so from that point forward, I was like, well, if that's the type of business somebody wants to buy, that's probably the type of business I should run. Whether I want to sell it now or 10 years from now or ever, doesn't matter. That's how a business should be run, is the way that it's the most saleable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so from that point forward, that's always been at the back of my mind, is how do I build a business that's not 100% dependent on me? Is there dependency? For sure, but not 100%, right? I'm not the number one producer. I maybe sell a handful of homes a year to close friends and VIPs, and I don't lead every meeting, right? I could take an entire month off and the company still functions, you know? So there's something to be said for that, for sure.
So
right?
you
Want
have-
to go on the positives.
So freedom, you have leverage, you have potentially an exit, right?
Sure.
I mean, I guess any agent has an exit. You could, if you're a great agent, you could still sell your book of business,
Arguably, yeah.
but this is going to have a much higher payout, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and obviously the fourth one, the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest one is ego. I think it's ego and expectations.
Okay.
If you do great, you're just expected to build a team.
Yeah. But not necessarily. You don't need to.
I don't think you need
Yeah.
to, but I think at least the coaching conferences I've been to, it's always that's the next step.
Yeah.
And you could, anyways.
But I think about the ability to be in more than one place at the same time, right? Like on any given weekend, if it's just me, and you know I have 10 listings that need to be held open, I can only hold one open, right? Like there's no way I can hold 10 listings open simultaneously. As a team leader, any given weekend, we have about 50 houses being held open, right? So it allows me to multiply myself. And sure, I'm not making 100% of those deals. I'm making a percentage of those deals, but a percentage of all of those deals is way better than all of one deal.
So now we just talked everyone into creating a team. This is why everyone wants to.
Yeah.
But I don't think the opposite it gets talked about enough.
Yeah.
And so what are the headaches? Why would you caution people, or what would you tell people before they jump in head first? Make sure you think through these scenarios first.
Yeah, I mean, if it's your favorite 3 topics are me, my, and I, like that is going to be tough for you to be a team leader, right? Like if you truly don't care about other people, you just care about yourself, you're probably going to be a shitty team leader. Like,
And let's pull that back even a little more.
You can hide that a little bit, but at the end of the day, like it's going to get exposed really quickly when every decision you make is based around you. Where for me, like winning on my own is cool, but winning with you and winning with our 120 agents and we're all winning at the same time is way more cool in my eyes. And like I get such a high off taking an agent who's sleeping in their car and helping them make $100,000, $200,000. You know, we've had a couple agents make over $1 million in a year now. Like I fucking love that. Like that gets me so high that they're winning and then I get to win alongside them. Like I get a true high off of that. If that does nothing for you, like you probably shouldn't be a team leader. Like if the thought of taking somebody from, you know, we've taken agents that are brand new and helping them make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Like if that doesn't excite you, don't be a team leader. Like it's not for you.
Yeah, and I think that's you got to really look into yourself and say, is that who I am? Before we were as big as we are now, you've always been that way. You're like, hey, I want to do a video series. We did our Sanity Saturdays, East County Eats. And I'm like, what are we going to charge? And you're like, nothing. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I get it now. We do this podcast. It's all, you're driven by growth of those around you. I mean, we see it with Fast Forward through and through every single time we do an event. Every Monday you see it. And so if that is not your number one driver, and I think you gotta take a hard look at yourself and say, is this my number one driver or is this not? Do I stay up at night and think, how can I buy the Ferrari? Or do I stay up at night and go, shit, Jimmy's having a hard time. He's doing what I tell him to do, but he's still not succeeding. How can I help him? Mm-hmm. I think if that could be a good litmus test of, yes, I should be a team leader or no.
Yeah, I mean, you don't do it because you think you're going to make more money. Like, if that's your driver, like, oh, if I want to make more money, I got to run a team. Like, I hate to break it to you, when you go from being the solo producer to running a team, there's a J curve. Like, it's going to go down, and it's only going to go up if you do it right. If you do it wrong, it's going to continue to go down. It's not even a J curve. Like, that's your best case scenario is it's a J curve. It goes down, and then it comes back up, and it can go up higher than it ever was before as a J. But if not, it's just going to go straight down, right? It's going to go down in the beginning. There's no way to go from being a solo producer to running a team and not have a little bit of downward, income level. So you got to be comfortable stomaching the down if you want to take the up. But if you don't do it right, it's just going to continue to go down. And I think there's a lot of people that are running teams right now that are there, right? They're making far less than they were before, and there's zero path to the other side of that J curve.
Yeah, it's hard to know if you're at the bottom of the J jumping up or just...
No, you know.
How do you know?
Well, you would know because you would look at your P&L, you would know your numbers, right? You would have like a system like Sisu that's helping you track and measure what the hell is going on in your business. You would have a P&L that you're looking at on a regular basis, at least once a month, so that you could track what are you spending your money on, what's your return, what's your top line revenue, what's your gross profit, what's your gross margin, your net profit, your net margin. Like, you would know these things. If you're going down and you don't know these things, you're going to continue to go down.
No, you would know you're going down. Sorry.
You wouldn't know you're going down. The way a lot of people know they're going down is they can't pay their fucking bills.
Yeah.
That's how they know they're going down. They don't even have a P&L. The only way they know they're going down is like, oh, I don't have enough money to pay rent this month or pay my mortgage or pay my vendors, right? Like, that's how a lot of people know they're going down, is they can't pay their bills. Like, because they don't have a P&L. Like, you don't have a business if you don't have a P&L, in my eyes.
I agree. What I was going to say, and you said I was wrong, I'm not wrong. It's hard to know if you're at the bottom of the J and going back up, or if you're at the J and then you just keep going down. It's hard to know without that plan.
But you could, a J, if you think about it, goes down and it sort of flattens out and it starts to churn up. So you would see that your downward trajectory is starting to turn, right?
Cool.
Because in a J, it's straight down at the beginning, relatively speaking, but then it smooths out and then it comes up the other side. So you would see the trend line start to churn into a more positive direction, but you would only know that if you're tracking and measuring what's happening in your business. Again, Sisu is our favorite for tracking and measuring just like the performance of your business, and then having a system in place for running a proper P&L in your business. Like, if you don't have those two, you'll have no clue. You'll never know where you are on that J curve.
Well, fine. I was wrong. Damn it. Okay, so...
What would it be if it just went down? That's a forward slash, right? The one that goes just straight down? That's forward slash.
No, it's a backslash.
Backslash. Back in the day with websites, it was HTTP
///,
wasn't it?
I think it's forward. It doesn't matter.
It's when everyone goes down.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
People who are listening are like, what?
They're like, I don't care. They're looking it up.
I'm giving hand signals, okay? Hopefully you're watching on YouTube.
So you have to make sure you're dialed in there. You have to make sure your P&L's dialed in. What are some other things that I don't think people always think about is they go, cool, I'm going to have a team. I think a lot of real estate agents, especially the very successful ones.
You're right. Backslash is the one that goes top left to bottom right.
So I think a lot of people, I think this is true for a lot of real estate agents, especially the successful ones. Because they're not successful because they just go, whoops, I fell into it, I'm good. It's because they put in a lot of hard work. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the agents, I think I would put you in this camp even, again, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, goes, this is the playbook, this is how you become successful. I've proven it, I've shown you the endpoint, now do it. It gets really frustrating when they don't do it.
Oh yeah.
They either try and do it their own way, or they try and...
Like, I hear you, but I'm going to go do this instead.
I see that you have given us the roadmap. I see your success. I'm just going to work 4 hours a week and see if that works. Yeah. And so that can be extremely
I had an
frustrating.
agent the other day that was like, I'm not going to make calls. I'm just going to text blast everybody. I'm like, have you heard of TCPA? Have you heard of that? What's that? Exactly. Like, there's no shortcut to success, guys. Like, work works. Just fucking work. And it works.
And so that can be infuriating for a team leader that has, let's just say, 10 agents. And again, the same situation we were before we came to EXP, and you go, shit, I'm carrying this whole thing by myself. My expenses are way higher. My stress is way higher. I'm spending less time doing deals. That makes me the most amount of money. I'm pulling back. I'm teaching. I'm coaching. I'm training. I'm building systems. All so that these other agents don't utilize it. I'm losing money. They're not making money. That's super frustrating.
Yeah, it's maddening because when you're solo and you're doing well, you understand how to operate at a high level. And then you expect everybody to operate at that same level as you. Like, if you want to go run a team and you're just going to go try to find people that are just like you, that's called unicorn hunting. Good luck finding those unicorns. Like, you have to accept that not everybody's wired like you. And that's hard, right? I mean, we had a sales manager in place who was one of our best agents, put him in a sales manager role, and struggled with that. And I've struggled with that still to this day, which is why I have other people help with that.
And I've struggled with it. Like, we talk about it in another role. Yeah.
Like that's a hard thing to be okay with people that are not at your level. But if you think you're going to surround yourself with all people that are at your level, like, good luck. Now, we have people in our organization now that I would actually be terrified to go on an appointment against because I think they're better than me. But I also have a ton of people who are not, and I'm okay with that, right? There's an agent on our team we've talked about before where, like, I used to get really frustrated with this agent because their production was always just, like, here, right? 15 deals a year, sometimes 5 more, sometimes 5 less, but, like, always right there. And I used to get upset. But then at the same time, like, but this guy does it every year consistently. He's happy. He contributes to the team. That's great. You got to be okay with that everybody doesn't want to do what you want to do. Right? And that agent is one of my favorite agents in the company. He'll also tell me when something's broken. He'll tell me if there's, some people that are maybe have some thoughts that are inaccurate and we need to work on something. Like, that's great. So you got to get to a point where you're okay with that not everybody's going to do what you do, right? If you're selling 50 homes a year, don't think you're going to go just get, and I thought this too in the beginning, I'm like, I'm just going to get 5 more people just like me and we're going to sell 250 homes. Like, it doesn't actually work like that. You go get 5 more people, that's probably 50 more homes. You're gonna have to get 25 people if you want to do 250 more homes. Like, you gotta understand, like, that's how it is, and that's a part that a lot of people struggle with. So as we kind of like bring this all together, the things I would say is, like, if you don't have it inside that, like, you love to watch other people succeed and succeed when they succeed, right? There's that saying, like, you can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. Like, if you don't truly buy that, if that's not who you really are, it might be really hard to start a team. If you're going to start a team, set proper expectations for the people that you're going to surround yourself with. Obviously, try to find those unicorns, and if you can, great. But the reality is they're virtually impossible to find. Just get the right people around you that are core value fits, right? That are going to buy what you're selling and they're going to run the play that's called, and they're going to work. I think that's crucial. And then make sure that you actually know what the hell is going on with your business. Like, have a system to track and measure what's happening. Again, Sisu's great for that. And then have a P&L and actually look at that P&L on a consistent basis, a minimum of once a month, hopefully more than that. If you do all of that stuff, you have a lot better chance of succeeding. But without that, good luck.
I was looking for a last part of the meeting, but that's fine. I want to talk about one more thing, and then we'll close out.
Okay.
And so you're listening to this right now, and you're like, cool, I have the cash to float me for a couple years, and I know it's going to be a J. 2, I'm going to be able to stomach that not everyone's like me. I'm going to allow them to slack. But the third issue that I think we haven't even talked about is their problems become your problems. And so they're upset. So now you used to have, you did 30 deals a year and you had 2 upset clients. Now you're doing 15 deals a year and have 30 upset clients. You're like, how does this work, right? And I think a lot of times they go, especially if you're the team leader or the broker owner, and they say, this client's pissed, figure it out, bye. And they drop off their issue at your desk and they expect you to solve it, and then they go to the beach. And so now you're dealing with this person threatening to sue you or deals falling apart, and they're chilling at the beach. So how do you deal with, or what would you say to someone of, you're going to be the main firefighter, or how do you avoid that?
Well, number one, don't be the broker, because then it stops with you. So don't be the broker.
You can't escalate it?
I used to be the broker. So by now just being a team at EXP, not being the broker like I was previously, now I can hand off like a lot of those, at least the really big fires I get to hand off. I don't have to take them. So that would be step 1. But beyond that is making people come to you with solutions, never coming solely with the problem. Like, one of our core values is be the solution. So if somebody brings me a problem, I want them to have at least 1 potential solution, ideally 2, so they can show me that they've actually tried to solve this problem before they bring it to me. Even if that was using Google or using GPT, right? Or some other source like that. I don't want you just to come to me with a problem without any potential solution, because now you got to teach them the same way you taught your kids. You got to help teach your kids where, like, if they do something and you fix it for them every single time, they're never going to learn, right, how to maybe not put something in the light socket or jump off this or that. Like,
maybe we don't let them learn to get electrocuted, huh? Maybe
I don't know, a little bit. It won't kill them.
Unless it does.
You got to let people, learn and self-discover what they can do, what they can't do, how to fix things. Like, you got to help people with that. And I think if you don't do that, and you also don't empower them to solve their own problems, because sometimes they actually know the solution, they just need you to like reassure them of it. So if they come to you with solutions and they're like, oh, I think I could do this or this, I think you're on the right track, Brian. I think B is probably the right way to go. Like, that's what I was leaning toward. Great. And now I start to empower you, and now you start coming to me less and less with that too.
Yeah, I remember we were in North Park. This was 9 years ago. And you talked about, come to me with 3 solutions before there was a problem. And you talked about it at a team meeting. And later that day, I'm like, oh, I have a problem. I'm like, let me come with 3 solutions. I'm like, well, once I thought about the 3 solutions, well, 2 is obviously the best. I'll just do 2.
Yeah.
I don't need you to tell me
when
to
you
do
just
2.
write it down or talk it out.
Yeah,
you
like,
actually solve your own problem.
Oh, that's not that hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, you got to help people, but you got to understand, running a team, their problems are your problems. Now, how you deal with that, that's where you can make this easier or harder for you in the long run. But you're going to have to take on other people's problems. So if you're not willing to do that, another reason why you might not want to run a team.
So I think this is really helpful for those thinking about starting a team. If someone has a team now, they're dealing with these struggles now, should they reach out to you for help? Should they come up with 3 solutions first? Like, what is...
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to help anybody, right? Like, reach out, send me a DM on Instagram. I don't care if you're, like, with our brokerage or not. Doesn't matter. Like, I'm happy to help. This world has taught me, like, the more I give, the more I get. So I'm happy to give and help other people out. I know it will come back to me in one way or another. So if you guys have questions, you want to reach out, you're struggling, you're questioning, should I even, like, run this team anymore? Reach out. We've actually brought some of those people into our organization here at Whissel, where maybe it's not right for you to run a team, and you just say, like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, call me. Like, I might be able to help you with that, or find somebody who can help you with that, or find a solution to where you actually enjoy running that team again. So just reach out to me. I would say the best thing, just hit me up on Instagram at Kyle Whissel, and happy to help. Awesome, guys. Well, hopefully you got some value out of the show today. If you did, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. If you have questions, throw them in the comment section. Brian and I respond to those personally. And if you want more of our content, hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell. YouTube will let you know whenever we drop a new episode. And if you are listening on a podcast platform, make sure to subscribe to the show and write a little review, maybe your biggest takeaway from today or a previous episode. Those reviews really help more people learn about the Whissel Way podcast. With that said, if you want to stay connected, I am at Kyle Whissel. He's at Bryan Koci on Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Whissel Way podcast.